Hey gang, this is Rob from ITMasterKey.com, and in this video, we're going to talk about passing the A+. All right, gang, if you've never seen me before, my job is to help you guys get certified. So the A+ exam is a two-part exam, right? So you have to pass both parts of A+ to be A+ certified. So both exams are 90 questions, and you got 90 minutes to knock out those questions. So the questions are going to be on a myriad of topics, right? So the topics can go from cloud computing to security to networking to just a little bit of everything. I tell all my students that are in the Zero to Hero program that the A+ is pretty much like your high school diploma when it comes to actually getting into IT. So it's a little bit of everything, right? So in this lecture, if you've never rocked out with me before, if you've never been here before, what we do is I'm going to go through some questions. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to answer it for yourself. And then as a family, we're going to talk about it, right? So the main purpose of this is to get you in the right mind frame, to get you in the right way of thinking. So when you get inside the box, when you take the test at home, you actually know exactly how to decipher the information. You know what they're asking, you know what they want, and then you can go ahead and knock out the exam. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So give me 1 second to set this up. Let's see what would be the best way to look at this. Full screen. All right, so it's going to be our first question. Like I said, I'm going to read the question, give you guys a couple seconds to think about what you think the answer is, and then we'll go through it as a family and figure it out. Okay. All right, so select the best IDE configuration that will allow for redundancy of data and the best performance possible. Use the least amount of disks possible. So what do we think the answer is? Do we think it's one SATA with 10,000 RPM, 500 gigabyte drive, two SATA with 10,000 RPM, 500 gigabit drives, or do we think it's three PATA, 7,200 RPM, 500 gigabit drives, or do we think it's two PATA, 7,200 RPM, 500 gigabit drives? Give you guys some time to think about it. So when we actually end the actual exam, right, when we take the exam, make sure that you pay attention to these types of things. The least amount of drives, the best performance, the most expensive, the least expensive. Make sure that you pay attention to those things on the actual exam. So the answer to this, I think, would be actually getting two PATA drives, two PATA drives. Now, why do we think would it be getting two PATA drives? Two PATA drives, right? The reason it would be two PATA drives is because it asks for the best IDE configuration, right? IDE is synonymous with PATA drives, and also asks for redundancy. So redundancy always means more than one, right? So redundancy over and over and over again. So the answer to this would be two PATA drives. As for redundancy, two drives. As for IDE configuration, so that would be PATA. Okay, let's go to the next one. Another thing, if you're liking the video, if you're liking what's going on, make sure that you give me a thumbs up and you subscribe. If you're looking for a training, head over to ITMasterKey.com. All right, so next one. You suspect that a computer is not getting the correct voltage. What tool would allow you to test this theory? Do we think it's a postcard? Do we think it's a loopback socket? Do we think it's a multimeter? Or would it be a toner probe? Very good. This should be too easy for you guys since you guys are super smart. It should be a multimeter. So a multimeter will allow you to check for voltage, it'll allow you to check for resistance, it'll allow you to check for the things that are asked in that question. Now, gang, well, we've been on here for a couple of minutes. Just remember, when you're actually inside the box, you're gonna have a maximum of 90 questions, and you're gonna have 90 minutes. So you got to make sure that you are able to decipher the information as fast as possible, and then go ahead and move forward. All right, so which of the following expansion ports are specific to Apple computers? Would it be HDMI 2.0? Would it be Light? Would it be USB 3.0? Or would it be Thunderbolt? So you guys should have came up with Thunderbolt. So Thunderbolt is proprietary to Apple computers and Apple products. So proprietary is just a big ass word that means that you can only use this stuff specifically with this manufacturer. All right, so proprietary is a fancy word that just means we can only use this stuff with this manufacturer. Okay. All right, so you're in the network and you need to narrow down where the traffic is stopping. What command would be used to determine this? What command will we use to figure out where the traffic is stopping on a network? Will we use ipconfig/reset? Will we use flush DNS? Will we use tracert? Or will we use ipconfig? Which one of those will we use? All right, so you guys should have chose tracert, right? Tracert is a command which is short for trace route. So it literally traces the route that traffic goes. So when you send a packet, when you send an email, when you send stuff across the network, trace route traces the route that the actual traffic goes on the network, okay? All right, next up, when using your laptop, the cursor jumps around when typing in documents on a new laptop. What's the most likely cause? So this is our fifth question, and I didn't want to completely crush you guys, so we kind of starting off, with baby steps, because when you actually get into the exam, some of the questions, and in later videos we'll get into that. Some of the questions are going to be way longer than this. Some of the questions are going to be so damn long that by the time you get to the end of the question, you forgot what the hell they was talking about, right? So when you actually look at the question, one of the biggest things that should pop out, cursor jumps around, most likely cause. All right, what are the most likely cause? Is it the touchpad? Is it screen orientation? Is it incompatible software? Or is it unsigned hardware? What do we think? All right, so hopefully you guys chose that it was the touchpad, right? So on laptops that still have touchpads, if the sensitivity on the touchpad is too much, while you're typing, your wrists or your forearms may be rubbing up against the touchpad, and it'll make the cursor act crazy. All right, a technician has set up IP cameras. To access them remotely, what must be configured? What must be configured to set up IP cameras? Do we think it's a VPN IP? Do we think it's QoS? Do we think it's a static DHCP? Do we think it's port forwarding? What do we think? You want to access them remotely. What would you set up? All right, to access cameras remotely, you would need to set up port forwarding. Port forwarding is what you would need to set up, right? So you want to make sure that you have access, and without having certain ports forwarded, certain traffic being forwarded purposely to that port, it would be hard to access and to configure those cameras remotely. So one of the questions may be, where the hell are these questions coming from? What are these questions? So these are some of the older questions that were part of the Zero to IT Hero program, right? So just showing you guys some love, showing you guys just how to break those things down. And I'm hoping to get a lot of videos out of this, and just to show you that the students that go through the Zero to IT program, on average, they actually finish these questions that we've set up. We got a bunch of practice tests. They actually finish this in like 45 minutes, right? Because like I said, we've trained them to hone in, and they actually know exactly what to look for, and they actually, have got the skill set that they need to knock this test out. But anyway, a technician is trying to print a document in color, but it will not print in color. What should the technician check first? What's the first thing that guy or girl should check? All right, so they reset the IP. Should they change the toner cartridge? Should they look at the grayscale settings, or should they reinstall the printer driver? What's the first thing they should check? All right, so as you can see, we went over some networking stuff, some hardware stuff, some printer stuff. This is how the A+ is set up. It's literally a little bit of everything. You'll be a jack of all trades. And well, actually, I may actually make some ITF Plus study material as well, because that's part of the Zero to Hero bundle as well. The ITF training, right? So ITF Plus is IT fundamentals, and the ITF Plus actually makes the A+ a lot easier, because like I said, some people may think that A+ is easy or it's going to be no big deal. Okay, just remember, it's a 2-part test, and it's everything. It's so much stuff on the A+. So anyway, so grayscale settings, right? Grayscale settings are basically black and white. Even if you have a color print card, even if you have a color print cartridge in there, even if you got everything else set up right, if you have grayscale settings marked to be on or checked to be on, it's going to print out black and white no matter what. All right, a technician needs to run a Cat6 cable to a workstation. What should he use to terminate the cable? Now, terminate is a word that we may not be familiar with, so that may make this a little bit more difficult. But do we think it should be BNC, RJ11, RJ45, or a F connector? Which one do we think it should be? Now, terminate simply means that what's the cap or what's the connector that I'm going to put on the end of this cable so it can connect to devices, right? So the Cat6 is going to use a RJ registered jack 45, okay? RJ 45, okay? So we 9 questions in. 9 questions in, gang. So what is the laser printer process? What is the laser printer process? So I'm gonna let you read all these words. And as you can see, each one of these looks similar, right? Each one of these looks right. Each one of these look like it could be the answer. So make sure that you don't jump the gun when you're actually inside of the exam. Make sure you don't jump the gun when you're actually inside the exam and say, oh, I know what the answer is. Make sure you read the entire question and figure it out. So which one do we think it is? Which do we think it is? Okay, a couple of them says processing, charging. So which one do we think it is? Which one could it be? So do we think it's processing, charging, and exposing? Let's check it. We got it right. So processing, charging, exposing, developing, transferring, fusing, and cleaning. So the laser printer process, first thing is always going to be processing. Last thing is always going to be cleaning. So some people may try and, do a little bit of a cheat code, and they see processing at the beginning, and they see cleaning at the end. Oh, that's the right answer. No, make sure that the stuff in the middle or in between it is the right answer. Okay. So let's go to the next question. Laser printers can print two-sided output as long as they have a what? As long as they have a what? They can print both sides. So is it a transfer belt? Is it a fuser assembly? Is it a spooler? Is it spooler software, or is it duplexing assembly? So long story gang, or long story super short, it's duplexing, right? So if you have duplexing assembly and duplexing software, you have the ability for the printer to print on the front, then run it back in there and print it on the back, right? So a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, if they want to save money, they want to waste a lot of paper, they'll have you print on both sides as opposed to just printing on the front. All right, so you turn off your computer every night, and when you wake up in the morning, you have to change the time to the current date and time. What's the issue? Do we think that it's the CPU's internal clock speed has been throttled down, causing time difference? The CMOS battery is going bad or needs to be reseated. The CPU charger is going bad or needs to be reseated. The PC needs to be wiped. So one of the major purposes and major jobs of the CMOS battery is literally just to keep the time and date correct when the computer is off, right? So it's a small little battery. It looks like a big watch battery, actually. Excuse me. And the CMOS battery, the main purpose is to make sure that the time and date is correct. If the CMOS battery is losing juice or it's not seated properly, that's one of the telltale signs, is that the clock will be messed up. The clock won't have the right time. Okay, so wearable fitness tracking devices use which of the following technologies to determine user activity levels? Is it an accelerometer? Is it landscape? Is it vector? Or is it alignment? So believe it or not, Fitbits, Apple Watches, those types of things use something called an accelerometer to gauge your activity level and your movement. All right, so Jim is hardware troubleshooting at a customer's home. What's one tool he cannot be without? Now think about this, but don't think too hard about this. Do we need a damn slingshot? Do we need wire cutters? Do we need crimpers? Or would he need a screwdriver when he's hardware troubleshooting? Make sure that you thumbs up the video. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure that you share this with anybody who can benefit from it. So if you hardware troubleshooting, man, the one thing you cannot be without is a screwdriver. You know, small little screws, whether it's a laptop, whether it's a cell phone, whether most devices, you're gonna need some kind of screwdriver kit to open it up. Okay. All right. What device sends data to all devices, no matter the intended destination? Would it be a hub? Would it be a switch? Would it be a router? Or would it be a VPN? Which of those devices sends it to everybody? Don't care. It sends it to everybody, no matter your intended destination, no matter where you want to send it to, it's going to send it to everybody that's connected to it. So a hub will be known as a dumb device because it will send it to everybody that's connected to it. Okay. Once again, if you liking this, if you appreciate it, like, subscribe, drop a comment below. Liking the video helps the liking the video helps the YouTube algorithm, right, to show me some love. And if you're commenting, it says, oh, okay, people must like this, and it'll pump up the video so more people can see it and get help by it, right? You need to connect a PoE phone to a switch that is 52 meters away. Which cable will be best suited for this? So another thing, I don't think we ran across any acronyms yet. On the actual exam, there's a bunch of acronyms. And if you don't know what the acronyms are, it's going to hurt you pretty bad. That's why once we rock through all the training, we put emphasis on that in the Zero to IT Hero program. And we actually have, a full list of all the acronyms that you need to know and what you need to study. So when you get inside the testing center or when you take the exam at the house, you'll be able to be proficient, right? So PoE stands for Power over Ethernet. Which K will be best suited for that? The cable that will be best suited for that should be Cat 6 or Category 6, okay? Which printer setting below would waste the least amount of paper? All right, so this is a good example of if a question comes up and you have no idea what the hell it's talking about. A lot of times when you get further into the actual exam, something's going to pop up that's probably going to be related to it, and it'll make a previous question make more sense. So if something comes up and you have no idea what the hell it's talking about, just skip it, go to the next question. So earlier we talked about what the duplexing assembly does. Remember? So the duplex would allow you to waste the least amount of paper, right? Duplex would allow you to waste the least amount of paper. So make sure you like this video. Like I said, like. That's your fee for entry for watching this video is to like. It's to like this video. So the YouTube algorithm shows me love. All right. Anyway, which of the following is the least likely to be intercepted through the air? So let's take the out of there. Which of the following is least likely to be intercepted through the air? Which one is the least likely? Would it be NFC? Would it be cellular? Would it be EMI? Would it be Wi-Fi? What do we think? So once again, acronyms, it says the least likely to be intercepted through the air. It would be NFC, only because of the proximity, right? To transmit data, you have to be super close to the device. If you're trying to intercept something through NFC, you have to be really, really close to that actual device to intercept the traffic or whatever it's trying to send, okay? So during a brownout, during a brownout, you are fixing a workstation. The workstation has a power on light, but nothing is displayed on the screen. The PC doesn't make sounds while the PC boots up either. Which tool below will assist you to troubleshoot further? Would it be a loopback plug? Will it be a multimeter? Would it be a postcard? Would it be a toner probe? What do we think? So it got a power on light and it's not beeping, it's not making no sounds, not doing anything, right? So depending on different manufacturers, the actual device, PC, laptop may make different beeps, right? And a lot of times those different beeps may indicate if everything's okay, or it may indicate that there's a problem, okay? So you can use something called a postcard, which will actually indicate if there are any issues with the actual device, right? It'll indicate if there's any issues with the device while it's starting up, okay? And it's a device, it's not actual like a postcard that you get from the post office. It's an actual device, okay? Okay, so down here just says need an exam voucher. So previously we used to actually give people exam vouchers, right? We used to, if you weren't in the training, we used to offer discounted exam vouchers. Good news is you can still get the discounted exam vouchers. You just have to be part of our training program, right? Because we want to make sure that you guys are as successful as possible. So if you want a discounted voucher and training that can actually get you certified, head over to itmasterkey.com. So what display provides the best range of visible colors? Visible colors. Which one of those provides the best range of visible colors? Do we think it's OLED, LED, CRT, or plasma? LED, no. OLED. So the reason I clicked on that, just so you can see, I don't know why I did that. Anyway, LED and OLED. That's why I clicked on LED and OLED. All right. So LED and OLED. OLED is organic LED. So the difference between LED and OLED, it uses natural light. So LED doesn't use natural light. OLED does use natural light. Okay. All right. So Mandy is about to replace her laptop screen. What is the first step she should take? What's the first step she should take? What's the first thing that Mandy should do? Should she arrange parts? Should she unscrew laptop screws? Should she read manufacturer documentation? Should she replace the RAM? What's the first thing that Mandy should do? What's the first thing that she should do? All right, so my recommendation, CompTIA's recommendation, is that you read the manufacturer's documentation just so you don't mess up anything, just so you don't void any warranties, because you may be super duper cool, but you may not know that on most laptops, most manufacturers, if you replace the keyboard, if you replace the screen, that actually voids the manufacturer warranty. So if you mess something up and you try and take it back, they'll know, because it's either a sticker or some clamps that break away, or if you remove it, they'll be able to know that you actually was inside of the device, and it voids a warranty because they don't know what you actually did, right? You know what's crazy? Okay, I was about to say, I was like, damn, I damn sure hope I wouldn't this whole time, not the microphone wouldn't know. All right, so good. What's the technical term for the range of IPs that can be assigned in a given network? What's the technical term for that? So you can't just, assign IP addresses willy-nilly, because you might come up with duplicate IPs. You may, duplicate IPs, or you may assign, the wrong IP range to one device, or one set of devices that was supposed to go to another device, so on and so forth. So the technical term for that range of IPs is the scope. Right, that is the scope. All right, Jim has 1,000 devices in his network. He wants the quickest way to assign IPs to these devices. What should Jim do? Should he configure access points? Should he implement JBOD? Should he statically assign them, or should he enable DHCP? All right, so Jim wants to do this stuff super fast, so he should enable DHCP. All right, he should enable DHCP. So DHCP is Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, and long story short, it automatically assigns IP addresses to devices once they become a part of your network. Now, if you statically assign them, statically just means that you manually assign them, right? Instead of automating things, you actually statically assign, instead of automating things, you would statically or manually assign them, right? So since he wants to do it the quickest way, he would enable DHCP. All right, so Sherry is using multi-mode fiber cables. Her main concern is how far the data can travel. Is she using the best cable for the job? Yes or no? What do we think? I'm going to say no. What you guys think? Let's see. All right, so no. So you got single mode, multi-mode. So multi-mode is better for speed, right? Most times multi-mode is better for speed when single mode is better for distance, okay? How long? Okay, we're almost 30 minutes in. All right, so Lenny has a RAID 0 array. He comes to work and notices one of his drives has failed. What has happened to the information on the drive that did not fail? It's fine, gone, corrupted, erased, priority bit is available, or it copied. So gang, just want to give you a caveat to this. So this is the help this is to give you a little bit of boost of confidence. This is to kind of go through things with you, but this is not enough to pass the exam, right? Going through this is not enough to pass the exam. If you're looking for training, as I said and state all the time, you can head over to itmasterkey.com and enroll into the Zero to IT Hero program, where most students are getting A+ certified in 30 days. So RAID, right? So RAID deals with redundancy. We said redundancy is often more than one. The only crazy thing is RAID 0 doesn't offer any redundancy, right? So unfortunately, the stuff that was on his drive would have been erased. RAID 0 has different levels. Excuse me, RAID in general has different levels, and RAID 0 doesn't offer any redundancy. APIPA IP addresses can be routed across the internet. So this is something different that I just threw in here, just not to confuse you, not to throw you off. There are no yes or no, and there are no true or false questions on the actual exam. Well, let's see how you guys do. APIPA IP addresses can be routed across the internet. Is that true or false? That is false. All right. So an APIPA address is a private IP address, right? So if you're on the internet, you got a public address. When you're on your local internet, you have a private IP address. Okay, gang, we're going to stop it right here. There's future videos on the way. I want to make sure that you watch my last video just to make sure that you're doing what you need to do, staying motivated, and doing what you need to do to land a job and to get certified. You can click the link in the description to join the Zero to IT Hero program. We're enrolling right now. There's actually been a flood of you guys coming through, trying to change your life, trying to get into IT. And I'm glad that you guys have decided to do so, because, 2021 and 2022, the outlook for people who don't have a skill set, the outlook for people who have jobs that are labor intensive, that are repetitive, that literally they can fire you and replace you the next day with anybody. The outlook isn't good, right? So like I always tell you guys, my job is to help you get certified and help you to get in the IT. And the quickest way for you to do that is to enroll into the Zero to IT Hero bundle. Other than that, I'll see you guys in class.